Copyright Law Day is observed annually on January 1st, marking not just the start of a new year, but also the symbolic renewal of cultural wealth as older works enter the public domain. Rooted in early milestones like Britain's Statuette of Anne from 1710 and U.S. copyright provisions in the Constitution 1787, this day celebrates the legal protections that empower creators, granting them fair control over their original works while promoting innovation. It also serves as a reminder to respect intellectual property, support artists and authors, and explore newly available public domain content. Activities often include educational campaigns, seminars showcasing public domain art, and encouraging ethical media consumption. Before formal copyright, early protections emerged through printing monopolies, such as the Venetian Statute of 1486, which granted printers limited exclusive rights for 10 to 14 years. But these protected publishers, not authors. England's Licensing of the Press Act from 1662 gave the Stationers' Company coercive control over printed works, but its expiration in 1694 sparked pushback and paved the way for author-focused reform. The Statute of Anne, an act for the encouragement of learning, passed in 1710, was the first statutory law granting copyright to authors rather than publishers. It provided an initial 14-year term, renewable once if the author was still alive, and established the principle that works should enter the public domain after protection expired. This law marked a paradigm shift from controlling printers to promoting authors and learning. U.S. states enacted local statutes between 1783 and 87, echoing the Statute of Anne's 14-year term model. The U.S. Constitution in 1787 granted Congress authority to limit copyright to promote the progress of science and useful arts. The first Federal Copyright Act of 1790 protected books, maps, and charts for an initial 14 years, plus a 14-year renewal modeled on English law. The 1831 Act extended terms for 28 years. The 1909 Act expanded coverage and formalities. The 1976 Act overhauled U.S. copyright, instituting life of the author plus 50 years, and later extended to 70 years posthumously. Laws such as the U.S. Digital Millennium Copyright Act in 1998 and the WIPO Internet treaties emerged, tackling issues like DMR and online infringement. Ongoing debates continue around fair use, orphan works, and the impact of AI-generated content on copyright protection. From author-centered statutes in 1710 to global digital era frameworks, copyright law reflects a centuries-long balancing act rewarding creators while ensuring public access to cultural and intellectual goods. What is today? Every year on January 2nd, cheese lovers across the United States celebrate National Swiss Cheese Day, a day dedicated to one of the most iconic and beloved cheeses in the world. Known for its distinctive holes and mild nutty flavor, Swiss cheese has earned a permanent place in sandwiches, fondue pots, and culinary traditions worldwide. Swiss cheese refers to cheeses that originated in Switzerland, which dates back to the 13th century. Its signature holes or eyes are formed during the fermentation process when carbon dioxide bubbles create gaps in the cheese. Swiss cheese became popular in America in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, thanks to Swiss immigrants who brought their cheese-making traditions to states like Wisconsin and Ohio. Today, Swiss cheese is a staple in delis and kitchens, often paired with ham and classic sandwiches or melted into creamy fondue. National Swiss Cheese Day is the perfect excuse to indulge in this classic cheese. National Cream Puff Day is celebrated every year on January 2nd in the United States. It's a fun food observation dedicated to the delicious cream-filled pastry known as the cream puff, a light, airy choux pastry shell filled with sweet whipped cream, custard, or pastry cream. The tradition highlights the popularity of this dessert, which originated in France in the 16th century and became a staple in European and American bakeries. Many people mark the day by baking cream puffs at home, visiting local pastry shops, or sharing recipes online. In the mid-19th century, cream puffs reached America, where bakers adapted the French recipe with local ingredients. By the late 19th, early 20th century, they became staples in U.S. bakeries and at social gatherings like weddings and tea parties. The evolution of cream puffs reflects centuries of pastry craft, from savory bread rolls to the elegant, sweet treats enjoyed today. Festival of Sleep Day is celebrated on January 3rd each year. It's a lighthearted observation dedicated to catching up on rest after the busy holiday season. The idea is simple: take a break, relax, and enjoy some extra sleep, whether that means sleeping in, taking a nap, or creating a cozy environment for relaxation. Humans spend about 1/3 of their lives sleeping. That's roughly 25 to 30 years of your life spent in bed. Dreams occur during REM sleep, rapid eye movement in the stage where most vivid dreams happen, and your brain activity is almost as high as when you're awake. Sleep is as essential as food and water. Prolonged deprivation can lead to cognitive decline, immune suppression, and even death. Napping improves memory. A short nap, 20 to 30 minutes, can boost alertness and learning ability. Sleep cycles last about 90 minutes. Adults typically go through 4 to 6 cycles per night. Dimpled Chad Day is celebrated every January 4th in remembrance of the infamous dimpled Chads during the 2000 U.S. presidential election in Florida. Ballots where holes weren't fully punched, leaving small paper fragments or Chads intact and causing controversy over voter intent. Some sources credit Thomas and Ruth Roy, affiliated with Wellcat Holidays, for establishing the holiday humorously to keep alive the election-era jargon and to encourage reflection on voting systems. January 4th sits just days before Congress formally certified the 2000 election on January 6th, which led to George W. Bush securing the presidency. The day highlights how small design flaws in ballots can have major democratic consequences and underscores the importance of accurate ballot design, especially post-2000 reforms like the Help America Vote Act. The day encourages civic discussions about election processes and technology. The Harbin International Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival is one of the world's largest and most spectacular winter events. Held annually in Harbin, Heilongjiang Province, China, with the official opening ceremony on January 5th of 2026. The festival began in 1963 as a local ice lantern show and officially became an international event in 1985. Harbin's cold climate, average winter temperatures around -20°C or -4 Fahrenheit, makes it ideal for large-scale ice and snow art. Blocks and ice are harvested from the nearby Songkhwa River and sculpted into massive structures. At night, sculptures are illuminated with colorful LED lights, creating a magical atmosphere. The festival showcases artistry, engineering, and cultural exchange. It attracts millions of visitors from around the world each year. It has become a symbol of Harbin's identity and tourism economy. What is today? Dry Bean Day is a fun and quirky observance that celebrates the humble dry bean, a staple ingredient in many cuisines worldwide. It's typically recognized on January 6th each year and serves as a reminder of the nutritional value, versatility, and sustainability of beans. National Bean Day also commemorates Gregor Mendel, born 1822 and died 1884. He was an Austrian scientist, widely regarded as the father of genetics, with his key contribution being experiments with pea plants. Mendel conducted controlled breeding experiments with pea plants over many years, focusing on traits like flower color, seed shape, and plant height. Dry beans like kidney, black, pinto, navy, and chickpeas are packed with protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They also have a long shelf life, which is why they've been a pantry essential for centuries. What is today? I Am a Mentor Day takes place annually on January 7th during National Mentoring Month. The day launched in 2002 by Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership founded in 1990 as part of National Mentoring Month. The day was designed to recognize and empower mentors, from youth and professionals to peer-to-peer, by encouraging them to share experiences and spark new mentoring relationships. Mentorship fosters growth, confidence, and skills in mentees while benefiting mentors through reflection, renewed purpose, and skills reinforcement. Mentoring levels opportunity gaps and enhances educational and career success. I Am a Mentor Day is a meaningful opportunity to celebrate and promote the value of mentoring, helping more people harness its potential for personal, professional, and societal growth. Healthy Weight, Healthy Look Day is observed annually on the second Thursday in January, founded by nutritionist Francis M. Berg, who created the Healthy Weight Network to counteract fad diets and promote a weight-neutral, sustainable approach to health. The day shifts focus from weight numbers to overall well-being, including energy levels, a healthy complexion, and psychological balance. The day encourages moderate lifestyle changes instead of extreme dieting. The day promotes physical and metabolic health versus aesthetic targets or restrictive behaviors. The day aims to reduce body weight shame and anxiety by valuing self-acceptance and functionality. The day educates people about healthy habits, whole foods, hydration, regular activity, proper rest, not just weight control. Healthy Weight, Healthy Look Day is a movement towards holistic wellness that celebrates health, confidence, and self-care without placing undue emphasis on scale numbers or appearance. What is today? Balloon Ascension Day is an observance that commemorates the first recorded manned balloon flight in the United States, which took place on January 9th of 1793. On that day, French aeronaut Jean-Pierre Blancard ascended in a hydrogen gas balloon, which was cutting-edge technology at the time, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and landed safely in New Jersey. The flight lasted about 46 minutes and covered roughly 15 miles. This event marked a major milestone in American aviation history. Blancard carried a letter of introduction from George Washington in case he landed in unfamiliar territory. President George Washington witnessed the launch and even signed a certificate for Blancard after the flight. Ballooning inspired future aviation pioneers and helped spark interest in flight science. This flight inspired future developments in aeronautics and paved the way for the eventual rise of air travel. National Shareholders Day, observed on January 10th, celebrates the vital role investors play in driving business growth and economic progress. Shareholders provide the capital that fuels innovation, creates jobs, and sustains companies across industries. This day reminds us that behind every successful corporation are individuals and institutions who believe in its vision and invest in its future. Shareholders are more than financial contributors. They are partners in shaping corporate strategy and governance. Their votes influence major decisions, from leadership appointments to sustainability initiatives. By recognizing shareholders, National Shareholders Day promotes transparency, accountability, and stronger relationships between companies and their investors. Celebrating National Shareholders Day can be as simple as reviewing your investment portfolio or learning more about financial literacy. Individuals can use this day to set new financial goals, explore ethical investing, and join conversations about market trends. In 1943, Los Angeles-based foreign correspondents established the Hollywood Foreign Correspondents Association, the HFCA, aiming to create a globally oriented film award similar to the Oscars. Established in 1944 and presented annually by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, now overseen by Dick Clark Productions since mid-2023, the Golden Globes honor excellence in international film and television. The first ceremony was held on January 20th of 1944 at 20th Century Fox Studios, honoring achievements in 1943. Awards were presented on scrolls. The ceremony typically takes place each January, kicking off award season ahead of the Oscars and Emmys. In 1945, following a design contest, the signature trophy, a Golden Globe on a cylinder pedestal, was introduced. TV categories were included beginning in 1955, making the Golden Globes the first major awards to bridge film and television.
The winner is John Wayne in True Blood.
The ceremony became a televised spectacle in the 1960s and the 1970s, though there were gaps, 1969 to 72 and 1979, due to broadcast disputes. And then there's the 2008 Writers Guild strike and the scaled-back 2022 event amid a controversy and pandemic constraints. In recent years, the Golden Globes underwent significant reforms following criticism over diversity and ethics. In 2023, the HFPA was dissolved and Dick Clark Productions assumed control of the awards, while the Golden Globe Foundation continued its charitable work. This history shows the Golden Globe's journey from modest journalist press breakfasts to a globally recognized ceremony, weaving in innovation, glamour, controversy, and recent transformation. Feast of Fabulous Wild Men Day, celebrated on January 12th, is a quirky observance dedicated to honoring bold, adventurous men who live life with confidence and flair. It's a lighthearted occasion that encourages people to appreciate those who embrace their individuality and exude charisma. The day draws inspiration from mythical wild men of folklore and modern archetypes of untamed masculinity. It symbolizes freedom, courage, and the joy of living authentically. People can mark the day by hosting themed gatherings, sharing stories of daring men, or planning adventurous activities like hiking or exploring new places. Feast of Fabulous Wild Men Day is a playful, lighthearted celebration of adventurous, free-spirited men, past and present. It combines myth, camaraderie, adventure, and bold living. Celebrations focus on sharing stories, feasting, dressing up, and embracing spontaneity. Public Radio Broadcasting Day is celebrated on January 13th each year. It honors the launch of public radio broadcasting, which began in the early 20th century when radio technology began transforming communication. Public radio broadcasting was a way to provide educational, cultural, and informational programming to the public without commercial influence. Initially, radio was used for point-to-point transmissions, primarily for military and maritime purposes. However, by the 1920s, innovators realized its potential for mass communication. The first public radio broadcast featured music and news, reaching audiences eager for real-time information and entertainment. In the United States, the concept of non-commercial, publicly funded radio gained traction during the 1930s and the 1940s. This model aimed to provide educational and cultural programming without the influence of advertising. Globally, the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, founded in 1920, became a pioneer in public service broadcasting, setting standards for impartiality and quality content. These early efforts established radio as a trusted medium for education and public discourse. The creation of National Public Radio, the NPR, in 1970 marked a major milestone in the U.S. public broadcasting landscape. NPR introduced a network of stations dedicated to delivering news, arts, and educational programming supported by listener contributions and government funding. Over time, public radio became a vital resource for communities, offering local programming alongside national coverage. Today, public radio continues to thrive in the digital age, adapting to podcasts and streaming platforms while maintaining its core mission to inform, educate, and connect people without commercial bias. Its legacy reflects a commitment to accessibility and public service, values that remain as relevant now as the Feast of the Ass was a real medieval Christian celebration observed in parts of Europe between roughly the 11th and 15th centuries. It honored the donkey as a significant biblical symbol. Donkeys appear in several important stories in the Christian tradition, including the flight into Egypt, where Mary and the infant Jesus were said to ride a donkey, the story of Balaam's donkey speaking in the Book of Numbers, and Jesus' entry into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. Because of these associations, some medieval communities incorporated a ritual celebration that placed the donkey at the center of a symbolic reenactment. The date of the Feast of the Ass varied, but one commonly cited date was January 14th, associated particularly with the commemorations of the flight into Egypt. Today, the feast is primarily remembered by historians as an example of the colorful and often playful devotional culture of the Middle Ages. Alpha Kappa Alpha Day is observed each year on January 15th to honor the founding of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the first historically black sorority established by college-educated women. Originating on January 15th, 1908 at Howard University, the sorority was created by Ethel Hedgeman Lyle and 8 other founders who sought to build a support network for black women in higher education during an era of segregation and limited opportunities. Their organization quickly became a symbol of unity, academic achievement, and collective strength. Over time, Alpha Kappa Alpha has grown into an international sisterhood with hundreds of chapters and hundreds of thousands of members continuing to embody its founding ideals. The purpose of Alpha Kappa Alpha Day extends beyond commemorating a historical milestone. It's a celebration of the sorority's ongoing legacy of scholarship, leadership, service, and social justice. What is today? National Good Teen Day is an annual U.S. observation held on January 16th that celebrates the positive qualities, efforts, and achievements of teenagers. It was created to counter negative stereotypes about teens and to recognize that adolescence, full of emotional, physical, and social development, is a challenging but important stage of life. The observation began in 1992 at Salem City Schools in Salem, Ohio, where teachers and students wanted to highlight the good in every teen rather than focusing on typical criticisms. Their local celebration inspired national recognition. In 1993, the U.S. Congress and President Bill Clinton formally declared January 16th as National Good Teen Day. National Good Teen Day encourages parents, teachers, and communities to acknowledge teens' positive behaviors, praise their achievements, encourage their growth and self-confidence, shift attention from what teens do wrong to what they do right. Today, we're celebrating one of the most brilliant minds in American history, a writer, scientist, inventor, diplomat, and founding father, all in one. Welcome to Benjamin Franklin Day. Benjamin Franklin was born on January 17, 1706, and despite only attending school until age 10, he became one of the most accomplished individuals of the Enlightenment era. He is the only founding father to have signed all four major documents that shaped the United States, including the Declaration of Independence. Historical accounts describe Franklin as witty, warm, and highly charismatic, qualities that made him exceptionally popular in social circles, including among women. His own writings mention his youthful affairs of gallantry with a tone of self-criticism and reflection, contributing to the image of a man who struggled with maintaining reason and restraint in matters of personal attraction. Benjamin Franklin Day recognizes Franklin's enormous influence across multiple fields. Franklin conducted groundbreaking experiments in electricity, including his famous kite experiment. Franklin founded the first subscription library in the colonies and helped establish the University of Pennsylvania, which remains one of the top institutions in the country. Franklin was the first American ambassador to France and played a major role in negotiating French support during the Revolution. He also helped organize early fire departments. Franklin published Poor Richard's Almanac, a cultural staple filled with wit, wisdom, and practical advice. It became one of the most widely read works in the colonies. The U.S. $100 bill features Benjamin Franklin. Franklin has appeared on the bill since 1914, and the $100 bill is one of the few denominations that does not feature a U.S. president. Benjamin Franklin Day isn't just about honoring a historical figure, it's a reminder that one person, driven by curiosity and a desire to learn, can shape the world in extraordinary ways. Unsliced Bread Day is an informal observance often linked to January 18th, commemorating the historical moment in 1943 when the U.S. government temporarily banned sliced bread during World War II for conservation, highlighting the value of fresh, whole loaves and the benefit of keeping bread unsliced to stay fresh longer. It celebrates the original way bread was enjoyed before slicing machines, encouraging people to appreciate whole loaves and the tradition of slicing as needed to preserve freshness. Sliced bread requires more packaging than unsliced loaves because the thin, pre-cut slices went stale faster and needed to be wrapped more securely, typically in wax paper. During World War II, wax paper and other packaging materials were in short supply, so the government banned the sale of sliced bread to save these materials for military use. Because sliced bread made it easier for people to eat more bread, thanks to uniform, easy-to-grab slices, consumption tended to rise. More eating meant more production and potentially more waste if bread went stale. The government hoped that banning sliced bread would cut down on unnecessary use and waste during a period of rationing. The ban began in January of 1943 and ended only a few months later because the savings turned out to be minimal. Many consumers complained and bakeries argued the ban was ineffective. Ultimately, it was lifted because the impact on materials was not significant enough to justify the disruption. Sliced bread first appeared in 1928 when the Chillicothe Baking Company in Chillicothe, Missouri began selling the first commercially machined sliced loaves on July 7th of 1928. The invention behind this milestone was the automated bread slicing machine created by Otto Frederick Rohwedder, who had spent years developing it after an earlier prototype was destroyed in a fire. By 1930, major brands such as Wonder Bread began selling sliced bread nationwide, and by 1933, about 80% of bread sold in the United States was pre-sliced. What is today Brew a Potion Day is a whimsical, creativity-focused observance that falls on January 19th. It encourages people to channel their inner wizard, witch, alchemist, or imaginative maker by crafting playful potions, which can be anything from colorful drinks to scented blends or purely symbolic concoctions meant for fun. Brew a Potion Day is a lighthearted celebration centered around creativity, imagination, and experimentation. Participants brew potions as a form of art, expression, or playful fantasy. The potions are not tied to any specific tradition. They can be drinkable, decorative, or purely fictional. Many participants make colorful beverages, sparkling juices, teas, layered drinks, mocktails, or fantasy-style cocktails that resemble magical potions. Some brew aromatic potions by blending essential oils, herbs, or scented ingredients into diffusers or small vials. Camcorder Day is an annual observance held every January 20th to celebrate the invention and cultural impact of the camcorder. The day honors the portable device that combined a video camera and a recorder into a single unit, revolutionizing how people preserved family moments, personal history, and everyday life. Camcorder Day recognizes the technology that made home video recording accessible to ordinary people. Before camcorders, filming required bulky, expensive equipment. The introduction of consumer models like Sony's Betamovie BMC 100p in 1983 marked a turning point in personal media creation. Camcorders democratized videography, empowering families, hobbyists, and early citizen journalists to document life with synchronized sound and moving images. This shift paved the way for today's culture of video sharing and digital storytelling. What is today Grandma Day is a celebration dedicated to honoring grandmothers and the love, wisdom, and stability they bring to families. While various countries observe their own versions of the holiday, one of the most recognized dates is January 21st. Grandma Day is a special occasion meant to show appreciation for grandmothers, their nurturing roles, their guidance, and contributions to family life. In many places, particularly Poland, Grandma Day is an officially recognized celebration held every year on January 21st. Grandmothers often play a major role in family life, providing emotional support, passing down traditions, offering child care, and strengthening family bonds. In Poland, studies even show that grandparents spend more time with grandchildren than in many other European countries. Celebrating Grandma Day encourages families to maintain and honor those intergenerational connections. National Grandpa Day is celebrated each year on January 22nd, a special day dedicated to honoring the wisdom, love, and steady guidance grandfathers provide across generations. Although the United States observes a combined Grandparents' Day in September, many countries, especially Poland, celebrates Grandma's Day on January 21st and Grandpa's Day on January 22nd separately, giving each elder their own day of recognition. The tradition began in Poland in the 1960s, shortly after Grandmother's Day was introduced in 1960. Public enthusiasm and media support soon led to the creation of a dedicated day for grandfathers. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, January 22nd became the widely accepted annual date. This sequence, Grandma's Day on January 21st, followed by Grandpa's Day on January 22nd, creates a midwinter celebration focused on family bonding. What is today? International Sticky Toffee Pudding Day is celebrated every year on January 23rd, honoring one of Britain's most beloved desserts. This warm, moist sponge cake, traditionally made with finely chopped dates and drenched in rich toffee sauce, is cherished in the UK and also enjoyed in Australia and New Zealand, where it's known as sticky date pudding. Sticky toffee pudding typically consists of a moist sponge cake using chopped dates, a luxurious toffee sauce made from butter, sugar, and cream. There can be optional accompaniments like custard, whipped cream, or ice cream. It is said that sticky toffee pudding originated in Yorkshire in northern England, from the landlady of the Gale Inn in Millington. Sticky toffee pudding is often described as a dessert that sits somewhere between a classic pudding and a soft cake, warm, gooey, and irresistibly comforting. International Mobile Phone Recycling Day is observed annually on January 24th. It serves as a global environmental campaign encouraging people to recycle old or unused mobile phones rather than letting them accumulate or be thrown away. The observance was established in 2015 by the Jane Goodall Institute to raise awareness about the connection between mobile device production and wildlife conservation. Mobile phones contain valuable metals such as gold, silver, palladium, and copper. When discarded improperly, these resources are lost forever, and toxic components, lead, mercury, cadmium, can leak into soil and water. Recycling recovers these materials safely. A single million recycled phones can yield 16 tons of copper, 350 kilograms of silver, 34 kilograms of gold, and 15 kilograms of palladium. Recycling 1 million phones can reduce greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to taking 1,300 cars off the road for a year. Fish Taco Day is celebrated every year on January 25th, honoring one of the most iconic coastal dishes to emerge from Baja California, Mexico. Today it is widely known in the United States, where restaurants and taco fans mark the day with specials, recipes, and celebrations. Fish tacos are believed to have originated among coastal communities in Baja California, particularly Ensenada and San Felipe, where fresh fish, tortilla, cabbage, and simple sauces were easy, practical pairings for fishermen. Vendors in Baja were preparing recognizable fish tacos by the 1950s to 1970s. Some legends say a street vendor in Ensenada first popularized them. The dish later appeared to the U.S., especially Southern California, through surfers and travelers. In 1983, Ralph Rubio opened Rubio's in San Diego after encountering fish tacos in Baja, helping introduce them to a nationwide audience. What is today? Dental Drill Appreciation Day is celebrated annually on January 26th. This unique observance honors one of the most important instruments in modern dentistry, the dental drill, recognizing its evolution from primitive tools to today's high-speed precision devices that make dental care more efficient. 7000 BC, early bow drills were used for basic dental work. In 1790, first foot-powered dental drill introduced by John Greenwood. In 1864, George Fellows Harrington invented the clockwork Irado, a faster but noisy mechanical drill. George Green and James B. Morrison developed pedal-operated drills. George F. Green patented the first electric dental drill. This invention revolutionized dental practice by replacing labor-intensive manual tools with a faster, more controlled rotary instrument. In the 1950s, John Patrick Walsh and Dr. John Borden helped popularize their air turbine high-speed drill, capable of extraordinary revolutions per minute. Dental Drill Appreciation Day. Many dental offices use this day to engage their communities with education, promotions, or events promoting dental health. What is today? Punch the Clock Day is celebrated every year on January 27th, honoring the invention and legacy of the workplace time clock, an innovation that transformed how work hours are recorded, how employees are paid, and how modern labor systems function. Punch the Clock Day recognizes the importance of time tracking systems, from early mechanical punch clocks to today's digital, biometric, and app-based systems. While often taken for granted, punch clocks helped shape the modern workday and standardized hourly labor practices across industries. The first punch clock was invented and patented by Willard Legrand Bundy, a jeweler from New York, on November 20th of 1888. Workers inserted a card into the device which physically stamped the time, introducing a reliable, tamper-resistant record of hours worked. In 1889, Willard and his brother Harlow founded the Bundy Manufacturing Company to mass-produce time recorders. Their company later merged with others to form the Computing Tabulating Recording Company, which eventually became IBM. Before punch clocks, supervisors manually recorded hours, a system prone to errors, favoritism, wage disputes, and mistrust. The punch clock provided an objective standard. What is today? National Blueberry Pancake Day is celebrated every year on January 28th, honoring one of America's most beloved breakfast traditions, fluffy pancakes studded with sweet, antioxidant-rich blueberries. While pancakes date back thousands of years, appearing in ancient cultures and even found in the stomach of Otzi the Iceman, blueberries did not become part of pancake history until much later. Indigenous people harvested wild blueberries for centuries before before Europeans arrived. They used them for food, medicine, and dye. Blueberries weren't commercially cultivated until the early 1900s when Elizabeth White and USDA botanist Frederick Colville developed the first domesticated high-bush blueberry plants. This made blueberries widely available and helped popularize blueberry-based recipes, including blueberry pancakes. Frozen blueberry technology in the 1950s greatly expanded year-round access, helping blueberry pancakes become a staple in American diners and homes nationwide. National Blueberry Pancake Day became established in the early 2000s, partly boosted by organizations promoting the health benefits of high-bush blueberries. What is today? National Corn Chip Day is an annual food holiday in the U.S. on January 29th that celebrates the crunchy, salty snack known as the corn chip, a staple for dipping, snacking, and Tex-Mex dishes. Corn-based fried snacks trace back to Mesoamerican cuisine, where corn dough preparations were common for centuries. The corn chip concept seen in the U.S. evolved from regional Tex-Mex and Mexican culinary traditions involving fried corn dough strips. The modern commercial corn chip began in 1932 when Charles Elmer Doolin discovered fried corn dough snacks sold in a San Antonio store. After sampling them, he purchased the recipe for $100. He began manufacturing the chips in his mother's kitchen, creating what would become Fritos, one of the first major corn chip brands. In 1945, Doolin partners with Herman Lay to distribute Fritos nationwide. In 1959, the companies merged to form Frito-Lay.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you are obsessive compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you are paranoid, we know what you are and what you want. Stay on the line and we'll trace your call. If you're delusional, press 7 and your call will be transferred to the mothership.
National Inane Answering Message Day is an annual observance dedicated to poking fun at and rethinking the silly, pointless, or overly long voicemail greetings that waste callers' time. It is celebrated every year on January 30th. The day brings attention to time-wasting voicemail greetings, spam messages, robocalls, and prank calls, and encourages people to improve voicemail etiquette.
If you are schizophrenic, listen carefully and a small voice will tell you which number to press. If you are depressive, it doesn't matter which number you press, no one will answer you. If you're dyslexic, press 69696969. If you have a nervous disorder, please fidget with the hash key until the beep. After the beep, please wait for the beep. If you have a short-term memory loss, please try your call again later. And if you have low self-esteem, hang up. All our operators are too busy to talk to you.
What is today? Hey, it's Eat Brussels Sprouts Day, celebrated on January 31st. This food observation encourages people to enjoy and appreciate Brussels sprouts, a vegetable that has long been polarizing, but is now widely recognized for its nutritional value, versatility, and winter season availability. Brussels sprouts trace back to ancient Rome, but the modern form was cultivated in large quantities in what is now Belgium, beginning in the 13th century. Their name comes from Brussels, where they were a common crop by the 16th century. French settlers brought Brussels sprouts to Louisiana in the late 18th century, and by the early 1900s they became a commercial crop in California, where they are still heavily grown today. Eat Brussels Sprouts Day was established in modern times to counter the vegetable's reputation for bitterness, which came largely from overboiling practices of the past. The observation aligns with the winter harvest peak and highlights improvements in sprout varieties that are now sweeter and milder.